All right, good morning, everybody. Dan here with tradingology.com for the trading room session on October 20th, 10/20/2020. That's a fun date.
And I bet you didn't know this, but it is plaid shirt day.
Well, there you go. If you're not wearing a plaid shirt, I'm preparing for snow in a half an hour.
Oh, jeez. I got my doors open. It's like 70 out.
We have a winter weather advisory. We're expecting 2 to 5 inches of snow today.
Holy cow.
Good times. Welcome to the north.
Look, I'm going to make a move down to DC probably next year. I suggest you come down to and try to get out of the snow.
Oh, there's too many people over there.
Yeah, but if you like camping though, I mean, you're talking about less than an hour out of the city. You got the Virginia mountains. I mean, they are absolutely gorgeous.
That'd be all right. Yes.
Oh, they are so nice.
Definitely.
Good morning, Andre.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
We got a private session here today.
One-on-one with Andre, so you let us know what you need, buddy. We're here for you.
Absolutely.
I think it was still empty, but I'm going to check the calendar to make sure they didn't sneak any new events in on us. But according to yesterday, there was nothing to happen. Oh, look, Forex Factory website is having technical problems. Engineers are working on it. Oh, that's fun. So we're not going to check their calendar. We'll check the other calendars. Housing stats, building permits is all I show for Tuesday, October 20th. And those are on the lower end of the section. So yeah, same thing, that holds true. We don't see any major market moving events. We opened up just looking at the internals, about 1,500 above, but we're starting to tip down. I took a quick scalp above in the free space up here. Once the price crossed above this person pivot point, I grabbed a long, actually twice. I grabbed them on 2 of these candles where I was in, then I was out, then it came back and got back in again. So I had 2 little scalps this morning. That is all I've done. Then we're definitely looking like it could potentially turn around. So I don't like fighting through all this traffic, although there was a nice short there, but that's less probable than I like the clean space. So that's what I did personally this morning. And just looking at, we're starting to get, smaller separation. Internals are starting to drop down. So there's definitely, we could have a potential turnaround like we did yesterday. You never know.
Well, you identified yesterday that gap in the internals between the gray and the green line when we were going up, and that was really the key to what the the decline that we saw yesterday.
Yeah, we saw how large that was. Here's where we were talking yesterday, and It just turned from there.
Yep.
So that's why those are the important things to remember. That's why we use the tools that we have. So now volume's actually above the issues right now. So there's more volume going into less issues is what that's
doing. So I'm not sure we're going to see exactly the same scenario as yesterday. I think this could be there's no follow through from the decline yesterday, so we could end up up day. What was it? Did we have any price anomaly on the spreadsheet last night?
We did not really. 38 only.
Yeah, so if we don't hit a price anomaly, we've had 4 out of the last 5 days declining. That means that the decline is still intact. So we're still kind of bearish here. That's one of the things that I look at is when we get price anomaly, that's typically the end of a move. Like on the 5th, 6th, 7th, we had big moves, but we also had big price anomalies. So that means that the advance is probably running out of steam. And then over the last 4 sessions out of the last 5, we've been down, but no price anomaly. So that means the bottom's not in. So if you haven't established a short position yet, not financial advice, but I'm going to establish some puts on the diamonds, I think, today.
Yeah, we're starting to see some bearish herding come in. We had the first and the third column fill out here yesterday.
So that means, and when you get 2 columns, here's another thing too. These are very subtle nuances of the spreadsheet, but there's a lot of information in here. And if you study it long enough, like I have, you begin to pick up all of these subtle hints. And one of the subtle hints is that, hey, look, we haven't had any bearish herding since the 13th. And then all of a sudden, in one day, we get 2 columns filled. So that means that there's a lot, there was bullish or bearish momentum coming into yesterday. because normally we'd only see one bearish column fill, but now we got two bearish column fill. We'll have to see if it fills out, but if it does, that's an important indicator.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, there's lots of ways to study, and the more you look. So another thing, as you're saying that, I was just mentioning or noticing here, the day before 2 sessions go live on the 16th on Friday, we had 112 up. We know it was up higher, but MT supply demand was at 0.
Zero. Yeah.
And it ended up, so that's an anomaly there in itself.
Absolutely. Yep. That's exactly right. Those are the kind of the little subtle hints that you look at in kind of determining, hey, look, is there any demand there? Well, market went up, but there was no demand.
And if you look at it, it was up 300-400 earlier in that day, if I remember correctly. So there was definitely bearish side of the house playing out.
Absolutely. There's a lot to the spreadsheet. If you study it, you'll come up with your own, I'm sure.
That's why we continue to use it and just show you guys, over time, it just gets ingrained and you start to understand what to pick up on and where the clues are. Andre says, can you elaborate on the internals? Are you just meaning what we were talking about here with the market timer Excel script? So the internals are what drive everything.
So on the spreadsheet, there's only 4 inputs on the internals. You've got the advancing issues, you've got the declining issues, you've got the up volume and the down volume. And then based on the algorithms that I've created, you've got different layers of you've got several layers, like in a neural network, to pick out these anomalies, like the price anomaly or the supply demand. So the first level of data is the K through T section. So that's the first level of the neural, kind of just the algorithm itself. It's very, very simple. They're very simple algorithms. But from there, from K to T, you got the total number of issues trading for that day. You got the total volume for that day. You've got the up volume ratio, the down volume ratio. It's just the ratio between the up and down volume. And then the sequence, which is the difference between the two. And then you got the same thing on the share side, the up S ratio and the down S ratio. Those are the ratios of the up and down issues. From there, from K to T, all of the other, there's about 4 different layers of data that's being manipulated based on on that data. And so this is where you get into the CE to CQ, and then and also the main categories there: the buy sell signal, long-term swing signal, BOP curve, strength, pipeline, empty volatility. All of those come from 3 to 4 layers deep of so anyway, that's kind of the technical stuff. But
yeah, so those internals that you mentioned, the up down, the issues in the volume, is
just a simple one. That's the first level of data. Yeah,
right. That's what's related in these indicators as issues. That's a number of instruments trading, and the volume is the level of orders going into those instruments being traded. So up volume and down volume, up issues, down issues. An issue is just an instrument. That's one thing I never got initially was, what do you mean an issue? Does that mean it has an issue where it has a problem? It can't figure out if it wants to buy or sell? What do you mean an issue? But an issue is just another way of calling an instrument or a stock, or another way of caring about it.
Yeah, or yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that confused me early on.
I mean, if you take a look at, for a while, we dipped under 3,000 total issues, but we've had a number of IPOs. And I think if you go way, way back, the number of issues being the number of stocks, issues and stocks are basically the same thing. If you go back way at the beginning of the spreadsheet, there's like 3,100 total stocks being traded. I think it got close to 32. It did 3,200 all the way back on January 22nd of 2016. There was nearly 3,200 shares or stocks traded every single day on the NYSE, and it dropped down to like 2,900 for a while. Now we're back over 3,000 because of the IPOs. A lot of IPOs last year and this year.
Interesting big change day right here. Look at this. 30.33 to 31.24 to 30.48.
Yeah, well, you see a lot more traded when it was on a down day. It looks like it just kind of
You know,
Oops, things going down. I'll sell mine. But that's the one thing about the spreadsheet. They're all hard numbers. We're not guessing at anything. We're just looking at the numbers.
so how you read it is the lines are the extremes. So when it's over a 0.8, it's 80%. If it's below 0.2, it's 20%. So this is showing us, as we look at the internals right now, there's 2,150 advancing issues right now. So 2,150 stocks are moving up. 677 are moving down. And the volume that's going into those, there's a 500,000 already traded to the upside. There's a 250,000 just shy of declining issues, so down volume. So this is the volume going into these issues. And
Right.
these numbers are what dictate what these lines are doing. So how you read it is if you see more, if there's more stocks going in, that means there's more buying happening. So the herd is buying right now. That's what this is telling us. So these numbers are derived from, these are the market timer internals that's shown at the wallstreetjournal.com. You can see this live feed. I think this actually might actually be live because it says 1042 for that.
It is live. Those are live.
The issues are a little bit behind, 1026. So that's maybe 15 minutes behind for when these numbers update because it takes a while to calculate all that. So that's where the indicators use the live feed data from Thinkorswim or TDA. So this might be a little bit ahead of what you see on the website, but that's how you read it is. So now we know the majority of the market right now is more buying happening and less selling. The issues and the volume are going up, and when these are together, like they are exactly right now, that's normal. That's what you want to see. When they get separated, like we saw yesterday, that's an anomaly. That's showing something odd is happening. And it's that part of why we saw the breakdown yesterday, because there was no volume going into that. There was a couple issues that were moving up, but there was no strength behind it. And that's where the strength indicators come from as well. Everything goes into play. It's all a formula. It's all algorithms. So these are the issues broken out separately. So this is issues only. And this here is the volume. So we see the turn here where this was going down. This is coming down. So we know there's less. So you have more of a bearish probability when you start seeing this happen. But when we're on the upside, so we're close to 2,000 right now. That's max to one side. Not until it gets like below 1,000 and moving towards that zero line like we saw yesterday. That's when the bearish activity actually happens. So look at these big bars. That's when you know things are going to happen. That's when the big turn and just continue throughout the day, because all those issues turn from buyers to sellers and all the volume followed it. So today we're seeing the opposite of that. It's staying strong right now. It's back up around 1,500 plus issues going up. So right now it's still a bullish mentality, which is why this could very well see a turnaround and go back up to the upside after it's made a turn down, which is what the strong market price signals also show you is live. What type of pressure is happening? Where are those orders happening? It moves up, price moves up. When you see anomalies, if you see a huge number, like right now we're right around zero, it's a -1. So there's not a ton of going either way. So everything works together. So if you're looking for a long, you'd want to see this back on the green side and building. Then that actually could start to push through. See, it's starting to move green here. Price should move up. And there it goes. That's how you read the internals, everything together. We're more bullish right now. So if you want to do a quick scalp, you could have the quick scalp to the upside, or if I want to do a quick scalp, I could. That's how it all works together. Does that make sense, Andre? Does that help you with reading it?
And also the reason I developed the price signal indicator was because it's not dependent upon the market internal. So you can use it anytime, day or night, trading the futures.
Yeah, it's a good point. So as people put these on their charts and they say, hey, it doesn't work, I don't see it, they're probably looking at charts that are taking into account the overnight data when there is no internal data. This only happens when the market's open. So we have this turned off for overnights. This is the same thing, just shown in a different way. Dave can probably explain the dots and the lines, but the gray dots are similar to the gray lines. The green dots are the green lines and vice versa. And then the moving averages with it. It's another way of visualizing the internals.
Yeah, and the only difference there is that when I start to see a convergence of the dots and the moving averages, a change is about to come. And then when they get really wide apart, a change is going to come. If they're just kind of like normal like this, then we're probably going to continue on this path. And it looks like a bullish day overall.
So if we compare yesterday, we'll show you what happened here.
Yeah.
Look at how far these dots got away from each other.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty good indication something was wrong.
That's the big separation, same thing that we saw with the volume and the issues, and it was trending down. They're actually right on top of each other right now, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, they are pretty close. They're right on top of each other. Okay.
The gray one just moved up to match the green one. Don't see that very often.
No.
That might be an indicative move of a turnaround happening here. Might be our leading indicator.
Could be. Keep an eye on that.
So that's the quick and the dirty. If you want the spreadsheets, obviously, you know, we went over the spreadsheet one by one. So they're probably looking at, they're just going back to what I was talking with. That's where you can use these for very short term. So this isn't a long term, hey, this is moving up, I'm going to hold it for a couple hours. This is a couple, like a minute, half a minute trade, because it's already moving back down.
Right. It's good for the time period that you're on. So if you're in a 5 minute, you better be in there for a minute. You know, if you're on an hour chart, maybe you can stay in for 30 minutes or so, just kind of watch it. But yeah, it's based on the time frame that you're in. So if you're on a 1 or 5 minute chart, you better be in for like a half a second or you know, a couple minutes at most.
That's why we call it scalping. You're in and you're out. You're playing that ladder. It gets above you. You just start running that stop behind it, and just you get what you get. That's the way I play that a lot of times too. If it starts to move in the direction I want, I'll leave the target open, but I'll just trail it with a trailing stop, and I'll just move it up the ladder as it goes. Both ways to play that. That's just one way to do it. So here's our potential turnaround happening already.
Yeah, I noticed that. As soon as you said it, it started turning. As soon as you noticed that.
All right.
Cryptocurrencies aren't really doing anything, although Bitcoin is up.
It's funny you say that, because I literally just started looking at that chart.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that well, you know, everybody's anticipating a rally in crypto, and you know, the last time in 2017, Bitcoin led it. So it's doing it again, because a lot of the cryptos are just not doing anything at all.
Bitcoin's leading right now. That's for sure. It's up 2.5% about.
All the other cryptos, I mean, some are down. Link is down 5%.
That's down 5% after a couple big up days. Maybe people are taking profits.
ADA is down, AGI, ONG, ETH. Oh, by the way, you have a Bitstamp account, right?
I do.
Yeah. So and so do I. So there was an announcement that they are now offering Link and OMG trading on Bitstamp starting, I believe, at midnight tonight.
Gotcha.
And it's going to be commission free.
Oh, wow.
Yep, until the end of the year. In case you guys missed that, if you have a Bitstamp account, they're adding Link and OMG and free trading on those two coins, just those two coins, I believe, until the end of the year.
Pull it up so you guys see it. It's probably on the front of their website, I imagine.
It's kind of big news. They should have.
I'm surprised it's not.
Go over to the right and go to news.
Crime insurance. There it is.
There it is. There. Yeah.
Chainlink USD coin. I still think that's funny. OMG network. 0 fees. There you go. Rest of the year.
Yeah, my wife's very excited about that.
There's the crypto news for the day.
It's probably going to be fairly light trading, I would imagine, for the first couple of days, and not much liquidity. So just be cautious there.
I'm just holding on to mine. I'm not doing anything with my XRP. Andre's asking if you're still holding it or what.
Yeah,
I don't trade it. I don't trade it day in and day out. I just let it sit there.
Yeah, just holding it. The only thing I do trade is Link, because it does move. I mean, it can move a dollar a day. It's like, it's only a $10. It's a $10 coin, but it can move a dollar a day pretty quickly.
Yeah, 10% is a big move, so you can make some
Yeah.
money there. Currency.
Yes, currency, please. Let's not get Mike mad at us.
I'll do my own honking horn. I just hold about 5-6 that I just bought, and it can just sit there. There's more and more talk of that recently too, with all the recent events. I haven't even kept up with it, so I should probably refresh myself. But I'm seeing nothing but more discussions around, the Fed talking about it with the conferences yesterday, and our friend Brad's always talking about it, so I know he's doing well. And congrats to Brad. I saw he crossed 30,000 people, so if he catches this one, good job, buddy.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I remember when we were trying to break 10 last year.
Yep, he's a great source for good information. So if you're curious about what's going on there, Andre, definitely keep listening to Brad if you're not yet.
Yeah, and he's at YouTube at Digital Perspectives. Just look up his channel. You'll see me on a Friday. Did you catch the last Fridays with me and Stephen Van Meter?
I did not yet.
Yeah, Stephen Van Meter was on the show, and I kind of grilled him about his monetary theories and how he studied the monetary system, and it was a good conversation.
I will definitely check that out. Yeah, we were road tripping out to South Dakota, so I'll have to give that a shot.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, good.
All right, Kyle, you get the last question of the day. Since I know you got one cooking in there, I can see it simmering. You're letting Andre run the show today. Andre's our Mr. Consistent, so we love seeing you, Andre.
Yes, you have a special place here anytime you want it, Andre.
Exactly. Let's see. Let's make sure I'm not missing. Google's being sued by the Department of Justice. Imagine that. Antitrust case over search dominance. That feels like Microsoft in 20 years ago.
That's right. Well, the European Union is also suing Google and Facebook over, Google over the search dominance, and Facebook over some sort of monopoly on social something. I don't know.
Sure.
But hey, look, if you're big enough, you're always going to be a target.
Exactly.
Yeah. A couple of interesting things just before we wrap up here. Been keeping an eye on the gambling stocks. We've been talking about gambling stocks for a while. Penn, Bets, DKNG. Is it DKNK? Did I get that right? DraftKings.
Oh.
Just something that you should, DraftKings, DKNG. Something that you should be aware of is that there's a lockup period because I believe they were a SPAC, and the lockup period is 6 months, and today's the end of the lockup period. So people who bought into the IPO or were in the pre-IPO, now they can sell their shares. So the insiders can sell their shares, the officers and directors can sell shares today. It's the first day of that. So just be aware of that. They are down 3.5% right now, so we may be seeing that play out. And that's also true. Also, everybody should put on their calendar. Now, I mentioned GDLC yesterday, which is the Greystone large cap trust that it trades on the OTC market, but it includes Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum. So it's kind of like a big cap cryptocurrency ETF, sort of. It's not an ETF though. They have a lockup period that expires, and I'm going to bring up my calendar so you're aware of it, because it is something that you should know about. And I believe it's June of next year. So let me go over my calendar because I marked it on my calendar. go.
I just pulled up GDLC and DKNG on daily charts.
Oh boy. Thought for sure it was June. Maybe it was earlier. Here it is here. Oh, it's earlier than I thought. It is March 31st next year. March 31st next year. So mark your calendars. That is the day that the lockup. Early investors in GDLC had to hold their GDLC shares until March 31st of next year. After that, they can dump it. And I had a client, in fact, it was Tina, that you know too. She had ETCG, which was the Ethereum trust, and it went from like 160 down to $40. And I mean, it really, she was like, "What happened?" And she found out it was a lockup period that had ended. So the same thing's going to happen with GDLC on March 31st next year.
So I could go from 15 to who knows what.
It could. I mean, you know, it's
Could be single digits.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it could go down. I anticipate if we do get a bull market in cryptocurrencies, and it was 40 just recently, or 30 something. If it goes, you know, goes back to 40, we could end up at 10 on that. So just be aware. Yeah, 38.
Yeah, 38, 35 was the high there.
Yeah. People piled in, and then
Yeah, massively.
yeah. So just something to be aware of. March 31st, mark your calendar.
There you go. Keep it down. All right. With that, we'll probably close her up for half of the week here. As I lose my voice, I need more coffee myself. All right, gents. Appreciate you joining us. As always, we will catch you guys tomorrow. And we will be sure to still cover. I have not forgot. We just ran into other topics, so maybe I'll put it on the top of our list for either Wednesday or Thursday for some of those questions.
All right, guys. Have a great day. See you, Dan.
Take it easy, Dave.